There is no doubt that most of you in this audience have considered at least once that America's best days are behind her. It's unsurprising, seeing the pillars of modern American life and culture are currently at odds. America's government, for example, cannot even agree on the minute details. One American celebrity is smoking marijuana on televised stage in Europe, while another is sleeping with prostitutes in brothels in South America. But hey, that's weak. And finally, your children and grandchildren, the upcoming generation in America, don't seem to care about anything other than binge drinking at parties, texting incessantly, and playing on the internet. Of course, you're not someone who has ever questioned whether or not America's best days are behind her. I'm sure you've probably begun to consider it now. But even after reminding you of current affairs in American culture, I feel comfortable saying that no one in this audience should fear that America has lived out its days. Before my youth convinces you to stop listening, I'll pause to genuinely congratulate and thank you for your generation's successes and failures. Because without your efforts, you would be correct in believing that America's best days are behind her. It is members of your generation, like Bill Gates, who have progressed technology to its current state. It is members of your generation, like Hillary Clinton, who have promoted the concept of peace and democracy throughout foreign lands and ours. And it is members of your generation, like Jim Blinn and Carolyn Porco, who have helped the current generation see beyond the borders of our little solar system via their Voyager space project. I thank you because you planted the seeds that my generation now plans to water and grow. Because the world has not stopped spinning, these efforts on your generation's part were only the beginning of what is still to come in America. And back to the point. Though American life and culture are currently out of whack, there is no need to worry about America's future. Because as Warren Buffett has repeatedly said, quote, "Money will always flow toward opportunity, and there is an abundance of that in America," end quote. Mr. Buffett is not wrong. There is an abundance of opportunity in America. We have the largest economy in the world to support development, a diverse range of citizens who are full of creative ideas, and our education system is still proving to be effective, though some changes could make it even more effective. This is why people from all over the world continue to fight for a chance to be educated in the United States. And the current generation realizes this, because we sit in classrooms every day with intelligent people from other countries who wanted a chance to learn in America. For more signs that the future potential of America is strong, just look at the habits of the current generation. I mentioned some at the beginning of this speech: drinking, texting, playing on the internet. But these are not the only habits my generation yields to. In reality, the modern generation has a number of habits that allude to admirable values that are already progressing America. One is the tendency to put immense effort into new forms of creativity, which according to Howard Gardner, author of Creating Minds, is due to, quote, "a refashioning of the domain. The next generation of students or talents now works in a domain that is different, courtesy of the achievements of highly creative individuals from previous generations," end quote. In those times of day when we're on the internet, whether it's looking at social media, Googling God knows what, or gathering information for school assignments, the current generation is constantly being exposed to new ways to research and understand the world around them. And one should not forget that texting habit. Text messaging allows the current generation to put immense value into written communication, while at the same time exploring and understanding a communication concept that will be essential to future development. In fact, according to a 2009 study in the British Journal of Developmental Psychology, quote, "Texting is fun, and owning a mobile phone gives children access to a technology that they enjoy using, and which also provides them with the opportunity to engage in additional, and sometimes frequent, written language activity," end quote. In other words, the habit of texting, which we know bothers your generation, is actually expanding the potential for communication in the future. Evidence that these habits are effective and have not deterred America from current or future greatness can be found all over. One of the best places to look is at the annual Discovery Education Young Scientists Challenge, where every year young innovators are honored for their outstanding and life-altering achievements. This year's three competitors included an 11-year-old boy and created a sandbag that better protects flood zones against damaging salt water. A 13-year-old girl who invented a device called the IC Pooch, which allows video chatting with pets, as well as the ability to offer a treat while pet owners are away. And a 13-year-old boy who built an eco-friendly fuel cell generating electricity from grass waste collected from while mowing lawns. I will emphasize again that these are only teenagers, American teenagers, and that those that you see texting and using the internet all the time. Yet despite these, the modern habits that they undoubtedly indulge in, they each invented a technology that members of your generation had yet to conceive. Since 11 and 13-year-old Americans are showing that they currently have the ability to influence the world, it should be considered that there is still enormous potential for America in the future. One could even say her best days lie ahead. We have not yet hit our peak in this country, and we certainly have yet to live out its best days. You are not the first people to lose hope in the generation that followed. After all, those who died just days before the Civil War began would have had a strong argument that they had lived out America's best days when they were alive. But if a Mayflower Pilgrim, a sign of the Declaration of Independence, or a soldier from the Civil War were allowed passage to the current day, they could not help but admit that America has progressed far beyond what they conceived possible. One day, America will have progressed far beyond what you or I can currently conceive as possible. But to argue that America has already seen its best days is simply naive, because our country continues to educate and encourage the upcoming generation, allowing them to progress and innovate just as previous generations have done. Thank you.